Hi, good afternoon. Today is May 15, Friday, and I'm upbeat today, and I would like to discuss to you the terms and condition to be put in the deed of sale by the buyer and the seller, so that the terms and condition will be agreed upon by both parties before signing of the contract. And now, I will discuss. I will discuss to you in the first segment today uh, the obligation of the seller to be put in the agreement. Now, most of the agreement to be discussed or to be put in the contract is the payment of taxes. So, payment of taxes on the transfer of title. So, usually, number one is the capital gains tax. So, capital gains tax, it will be shouldered by the seller. I think it's about either 6 or 6.5. I don't remember now because it's usually my staff is handling this tax payment. And then if the buyer and seller are individual person, so the capital gains tax is the fees to be paid to the government. Now, if the buyer and seller is a corporation, now it will be subject to expanded withholding tax or withholding tax. So it's usually the seller is the one paying or making the withholding tax, and then they'll be remitted to the Bureau of Internal Revenue. And next is the value-added tax. Usually there is what we call value-added tax if the seller and the buyer is not really first-time seller or first-time buyer, and they are not habitually engaged into real estate selling, there will be no value-added tax. But in some cases, the seller is habitually engaged or in the real estate business. He has its own company engaged in real estate business, can be categorized as subject to value-added tax. And now, but if it depends on the price. I think there's a rules that if there's a lower than certain amount, they say 1 million, there will be no more value-added tax. But it's better that you should visit the Bureau of Internal Revenue to bring your draft form of deed of sale and look for your somebody there who might be of help to you. Of course, the Onyx or the table who is handling the daily acceptance of the taxes will not entertain you because it's not yet legally notarized. So you have to look for somebody there who can help you basically make some initial assessment whether this will be subject to what you call it, value-added tax. And also, it is more or less, as I always advise my buyer and seller, you have to, and even in our case, whenever we have a possible sale, I always ask my staff to go to the BIR and consult the BIR office on the tax angle because it's better before closing the deal. It's very, very clear that these are the following taxes to be paid by both parties. And next, the documentary stamp tax. Usually, the documentary stamp tax is being paid by the seller. But sometimes seller do not want to pay the taxes because maybe they they need the money or they sold to you the lot on a good price, so they don't want to pay the doc stamp. So they ask the buyer to pay the documentary stamp tax. So, but in this discussion, so this will be for the account of the seller because it's really the seller who are who are obligated to pay the dock stamps, because you are the one who's selling it and the deed of sale. So, and then you are supposed to pay, the seller is supposed to pay the dock stamps. And actually, if I remember right, the dock stamps is in the name of the seller. Kaya nga, after paying the dock stamps, the receipt from the BR is in the name of the seller, and then it will be attached on the documents when transferring the title to the buyer. So that is more or less the obligation of the seller in transferring in the deed of sale of both parties. Now, it's also to be discussed who will shoulder the notarization fees, well, and the preparation of the contract. Anyways, as I suggest to you, the buyer, I suggest, prepare the deed of sale. But most of the time, the seller is the one preparing the deed of sale. But if you have some connection or who will prepare a lawyer who will prepare the deed of sale, it's better you prepare the deed of sale. So you bring the deed of sale and your payment. And next segment, I will discuss to you the obligation of the buyer. So until then, I will see you again, and I hope you learn something from my segments and from my series of real estate investment. You're very near to become an investor, the real investor. Have a good day. Thank you, Lord. God bless.